Frisco RoughRiders opening a three-game series with the Tulsa Drillers tonight at Dr Pepper Ballpark, and we're joined by a special guest on the RoughRiders pregame show, Joe Mock, founder, CEO, and chief writer of BaseballParks.com. Joe, we understand that this is not your day job, but whatever job it is, it's a pretty cool one. For those unfamiliar with BaseballParks.com, give us a little bit about what that website is and what you do for it.
Sure. Well, Chris, thanks for having me on, for one thing, and it's always a thrill to come to Dr. Pepper Ballpark because not only is it named for my favorite beverage, it was given the BaseballParks.com Ballpark of the Year award when it opened, so I always love checking that out when I'm here. But BaseballParks.com started when the World Wide Web started in 1997. I was able to buy that domain name. And I thought I'd do something simple like just post pictures of ballparks I'd been to. And I had no idea that it would kind of evolve and morph into this big thing that has so many parts and different contributors and has led to all these other projects. But at its core, BaseballParks.com is what you would think it would be with that name. My pride and joy on the site are the in-depth reviews I do of every new park that opened, like I did here when this one opened. I've already written the in-depth reviews for the new parks that have opened in Mesa for the Cubs for spring training this year, and Charlotte. Just posted that one today. And I've also been to the other new ballpark that's opened this year is El Paso, so I'm working on that in-depth review. So that's my favorite part of the many parts, the many facets of BaseballParks.com. At its core, it's the in-depth reviews of all the new ballparks that open.
Many facets of your website, also many facets of the game of baseball itself. What is it specifically about baseball parks that really clicks with you?
It goes back to my youth. I mean, I was, loved baseball, loved playing it, but was never very good at it. But, I always wanted to stay attached to the game. And I seemed to be drawn to the facilities where sports events are held. And, in no other sport is the relationship between fan and venue like it is in baseball. And I found that by kind of carving out my own little niche, the area of specialty within the sport, that it led to writing and a book and television projects and all kinds of things. Because once you have a website and a book, people kind of view you as an expert on something. So I like to be thought of as an expert. But I mean, at this point, I know just about every architect who's ever designed a baseball park, and I've been to them all, and I never get tired of it.
You mentioned the write-ups about new ballparks on your website. From a content perspective, what else do you include on BaseballParks.com, and do you have any contributors to your website besides yourself?
Yeah, I have. There are other folks who are crazy about ballparks. They might not be as crazy as I am, but they really like ballparks and they have some writing skills. And so I've had a number of people contribute essays about a specific ballpark or a way of ranking ballparks or experiences that they've had at ballparks. Those are in the ballpark essays section of the website. But we run contests, photo albums. I rank the parks from top to bottom of the various minor leagues. I think the Texas League has the best parks of any minor league in the country by far, by the way. And I'm not just saying that because of where I'm sitting today. I think it's absolutely true. So there's other aspects of it just than the in-depth reviews, because that's kind of a specialized part of it. But as I say, I think that's kind of the heart or the core of the site are these in-depth reviews. So any ballpark that's open in the last decade and a half, someone wants to look up what I thought about it and see a whole lot of pictures, and pictures are very important to me in this. It's not just the writing. For instance, when I posted the in-depth review of the new Charlotte ballpark in the International League, I included 40 pictures that I had taken, which means I've got to edit and format for the web and all that kind of thing. Because I want people to see, not just read, but I want them to see what I'm describing at these ballparks.
What kind of criteria go into your reviews, and what really distinguishes a good ballpark from maybe just an average one?
Oh, Chris, you've asked my favorite question. Thank you for asking that. When I do an in-depth review, or any assessment I make of any ballpark, The system I have developed breaks it down into 4 areas. And those 4 are, where's the ballpark located? Are there other interesting things, or does it have a nice view, or, whatever? Number 2 is, what does its exterior look like? And Dr. Pepper Ballpark, there's nothing else like it in the sport. It's spectacular. What its interior design is like, the seating bowl, the way the outfield is arranged, so on and so forth. And number 4, which is the one that everyone likes to read, are what's the game day experience like? What is the food like? How much do the tickets cost? What's parking like? Those kinds of things. So I think in looking at any ballpark from those 4 angles, you pretty much, hit it from A to Z. And someone reading one of these in-depth reviews, if they want to know something about a ballpark, they're going to find it in one of those 4 sections.
Now, the game of baseball, for all the tradition that it has changed considerably in the past 20 years, I think it's safe to say.
Sure.
Now, since the internet was invented and you started baseballparks.com, what has changed about the construction and the complexion
yes.
of ballparks?
Yes. New ballparks, especially in the minor leagues, because there's so many more of them than there are the majors, it has changed radically, even from the 90s to now. In the 90s, you were seeing minor league ballparks being designed and built that were pretty much cookie cutter things that could have been, designed and dropped in just about any minor league park, any minor league market in America. And what you were seeing now, and this is true of the brand new El Paso Park, it's true of the new Charlotte Park, and I think it's true here in Frisco, is you are seeing parks that are tailored for their location. There are things that are done with fitting a ballpark into a site, what they want to have, what the architects want to have as the view when you're sitting in your seat looking out beyond the outfield. They want to take advantage of things that are unique to that area. And they didn't used to do that. That was, it was all just function. We got to have so many suites, and we've got to have an upper level, and the press box has to be in the middle of the upper level, and on and on and on. And today, they don't follow those old conventions, and I really like it. I mean, I like, in ballparks, I like different. I don't like seeing the same architectural design over and over. So you've hit the nail on the head. Even in 20 years, ballpark design has changed radically.
Joe Mock of BaseballParks.com joining us on the Frisco RoughRiders pregame show. And Joe, you certainly don't confine yourself to just Major League Baseball stadiums. Can you possibly pick a favorite stadium of majors, minors, really all the stadiums that you've seen?
Well, my favorite of them all is Wrigley Field. I'm not a Cubs fan in particular. If I were, I'd have quite a broken heart. So I don't live and die by whether they win or not. But always, from day one, that's always been my favorite ballpark. And I got the thrill of a lifetime when I got to cover for USA Today the 100th birthday celebration that took place at Wrigley on April 23rd. It was a spectacular day, and honest to goodness, I don't think I've ever felt such joy at a ballpark as I felt that day, because you had the sense of history. The players were playing in the throwback uniforms. Everything that the Cubs did that day made it feel like it was 1914, and that was really, really special. In fact, I took probably several hundred pictures that day, and I took my favorite 30 pictures and did a photo essay on it, and that posted on baseballparks.com, and anyone can, go online and look at it for free.
Really exciting to hear about the traction that your website is getting and your work. You mentioned USA Today asking you to do a feature of sorts on Wrigley Field. Now, before we let you go, Joe, we're not fishing for compliments here by any stretch of the imagination, but you mentioned the criteria that you look for when you critique a ballpark. And what is it about Dr. Pepper Ballpark, for the fans listening to this that haven't been here yet, what is it about Dr. Pepper Ballpark that maybe distinguishes it from others?
That's easy. There is no other baseball park that's like this one. None have this architectural design. The look of the outer ring of buildings, the way that is done, no other ballpark does that. And it's spectacular. And the architect who was principally behind that, who's out of Washington, D.C., David M. Schwartz. In fact, I met him here on the first game ever played in this ballpark, did a phenomenal job in coming up with this concept that had never been done before and really has not been done since. So remember I said I like different? This is different. But it's not just different to be different. It's different in a superior way. So no, the way this ballpark is designed is spectacular. And that was true the day it opened, and it's true still today.
If you're a fan of baseball, you need to check out baseballparks.com. Joe Mock, chief writer and founder of baseballparks.com, has joined us today on the RoughRiders pregame show. Joe, thanks so much for your time and for your continued interest in Dr. Pepper Ballpark. It certainly means a lot, and enjoy the game tonight.
Chris, thank you very much for having me on.
We'll be back right after this on the Frisco RoughRiders.